What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Comic Gamer Movie Show. My name's Deshaun, and today I'm here to give you my thoughts, my spoiler-free review on the latest episode of The Mandalorian, Chapter 5, The Gunslinger. Now, this episode is already in disarray. Now, last episode, I actually saw people defending. You know, because a lot of people said the last episode was filler. I disagreed. I loved last episode. I thought it was a nice, isolated episode. It wasn't my favorite episode. I personally think episode 3 is still my favorite episode so far in the season. But I haven't disliked a single one of these episodes. I've liked every single one of them. Like, they vary. You know, now we're getting to semantics. Or at least not semantics. Now we're getting to the nitty-gritty. Because since this is a show, you know, with multiple directors, we're starting to get a sense of, you can compare the episodes now. Because a lot of the episodes, like I said in my last review, are like isolated, like kind of contained stories that happen to have a through line that may come back up, that happens to have pieces that may or may not come back up. And this episode is no exception. Now, I've seen a lot of complaints online already about that it might be too much fanfare, that it might be too fanservice-y, that nothing actually happens in this episode. And, like, in that there's no point even watching this episode. And I would totally disagree with that as well. I think this is a fun... this episode, even more than any of the other episodes they've done, is super isolated. It is really a story taken out of the Old West. Like, I was watching this, I wasn't thinking about the nostalgia stuff. Like, I didn't even think about that when I saw it. I just thought, like... To me, a lot of people, just minor spoilers, he goes to Tatooine in this episode. And he goes to Tatooine, he sees, I can't remember, is it Tusken Raiders? He sees Tusken Raiders. He sees, he goes into that same, bar that Obi-Wan and Luke went in when they found Han Solo. He went to that bar, and... The thing is, a lot of people are saying that's too much fanfare, but to me, it wasn't that bad, because to me, I'm like, this is how I always think about when a movie has a legacy. If you can create new things, create new things. And this show has created new things. This show has shown different planets, different territories throughout the 4 episodes. So, it wasn't that big of a deal to me for them to go back to Tatooine. And if you're going to go to Tatooine, there's no way you can avoid there's no way you can avoid not hitting the Tusken Raiders in that cantina. You're there. How are you not going to go there? Like, so, like, and it's pretty clear that if you're going to Tatooine, that's the place to go to find what work. I mean, that's why Luke and Obi-Wan went there in the first place. So I got no problem with that. I have no problem with the fan service. I've seen a lot of people say online that it might be too much, but I had no problem with it. My problem with this episode, and by the way, I say I had a problem with this episode, but all in all, I still had fun watching it. I still think it had the effects were great. I love that dogfight at the beginning. It made Mando look badass. I love Ming Long Wen. I always say her name wrong. She plays Agent May on she plays Agent May on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and she voiced Mulan, and she's been in a lot of things in the Disney vault. Like, she's a Disney kid. She's a Disney girl through and through. She played this badass, like, assassin. Now, granted, there's questions about how things went, but, like, the story, this story is the typical story. This story was kind of video game like. Because as I was watching, I was like, yep, that's what you do. You know, at a certain point in an RPG, you have to raise money for something. Some RPGs, some role-playing games, you know, some RPGs give you actual missions to go do, to go earn this money, this set amount of money that you need to reach. And some RPGs go, the world's open, but no, to move on with the main story, you gotta earn this amount of money. You can go earn it however way you want. That was the vibe I got from this episode. Was like, look, the only way we're gonna be able to move on is if you go earn some money, and you're gonna have to find some way to get some money to, you know, to move on with the story. It's just a little isolated episode that, you know, that just does more, you know, more world building, because it shows you what Tatooine looks like now. Like, what Tatooine looks like now. Because as far as I know, Well, no, I guess you did see what Tatooine, but it kind of showed you what Tatooine looks like, and the aftermath of all the events that happened. It kind of answered questions about the New Republic is out there capturing people and capturing anyone who was like helping out the Empire, and like how that's affecting a lot of people. The idea that Tatooine's not even like that bar, and was A New Hope, and A New Hope, the bar that you met, goddamn, not Boba Fett. Why am I thinking about Boba Fett? Jeez. The bar that Luke and Obi-Wan went into to meet Han Solo was booming with people, working people. And now it's not booming with people. It's not a lot of people in there. There's people in there, but it's not a lot of people in there. They no longer really have a lot of mercenaries in there. They no longer have jobs coming through there. So, it's Tatooine isn't what it used to be. And more importantly, the ending kind of sets something up. Because I'm pretty sure that the last 10 minutes of this are going to be extremely important. Because I think the last 10 minutes of this episode are going to set things up. Now, to me, this is an episode that kind of shows Dave Filoni's lack of, filming experience. I don't think it's a coincidence that the two episodes that I would say are the weakest, now that I have 5 episodes to look at and really really look at it and kind of put it in context, Dave Filoni's episodes are the weakest. And it's not nothing that he just didn't have anything he experienced. And I will say that this episode is also probably the weakest. And I don't think it's far-fetched to say that the fact that Dave Filoni wrote and directed this one, perhaps Jon Favreau should have wrote it. I still had fun with it. I still enjoyed this episode. I'm still going to give it an 8. But I loved episode 1. I would have given that an 8.5. Episode 2, I loved. I would have given that a 10. Episode 3, I absolutely loved. I would have given that a 10. The last episode, after rewatching it, like it even more. I'd probably give that a 9. And this episode's an 8. This episode is not as good as the other episodes, but not because it's not doing. It's just because it's not quite executed correctly. You can tell that this is a director who's not quite done this stuff before. And like I said, episode 1 I think was helped out by the fact that Jon Favreau wrote it. So, but episode 2 with Dave Filoni writing it and whatnot, it did feel a little Clone Warsy. Not Clone Warsy the movie, I mean Clone Warsy the animated series. And like I said, perhaps Jon Favreau should have wrote it, but they're working as a team. They're all working it together. I can only imagine that it's going to get better from here on out, especially since they're bringing back Rick Famuyiwa, also Deborah Chow's coming back, and Taika Waititi. The last 3 episodes will be directed by Rick Famuyiwa, Deborah Chow, and Taika Waititi. So the next 3 episodes are all directed by seasoned directors. One of them directed my favorite episode, and 2 of them directed 2 of my favorite episodes. So I'm thinking, you know what? I'll just let it. It is what it is. Because I'm just like, you know what? I'll get over it. Because the next 3 episodes, I'm like this. When I saw Dave Filoni, I was like, let's see. He still needs a bit of work on it. He still needs a bit of work. So we'll see. But thank you guys for joining me on Comic Game Movie Show. What did you think of The Mandalorian episode 5? I still had a good time with it, though I do think it is the weakest of the season so far. But it's a bar that's high for me now. I really just, I'm enjoying the hell out of this show. And this is still fun to watch. I've watched it twice, so obviously I still enjoyed myself. It's just when I take it and put it next to the other episodes, it's pretty abundantly clear that Dave Filoni's experience, he doesn't have enough experience, and he doesn't have enough experience directing or writing live action to quite get it as well as as the other directors have been able to get it. Even Bryce Dallas Howard, who hasn't directed a lot, directed an episode better than he did. So, it is what it is. But thank you guys for joining the Comic Game Movie Show. Please remember to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.